Pregame.com.
The Phillies at the D-backs, Wednesday, Major League Baseball. Welcome to Pregame TV. He's Brian Leonard. I'm Scott Spreitzer. We got a nice pitching matchup between Hamels and Cahill towing the rubber at Arizona this week. And I'm looking at this game, Brian, and I see both teams have struggling offenses right now as far as the statistics are concerned. The Phillies, 7 home runs, just 43 runs scored as we talk about this game on late Monday afternoon. The Cubs, the only team with fewer home runs right now than the Phillies, and the Pirates are the only team right now with fewer runs scored than Philadelphia in the league. And Arizona, as far as they're concerned, 25th at the plate, hitting about 224 as a team as they started this series. Now, there's something you like to do, true wins, that I want you to break down for everybody right now. I know you were on the forum talking about it a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I went into the forums and I talked about true wins, true runs. This is a way, for example, a couple nights ago, the Angels played Oakland. Mm-hmm. The Angels out-hit Oakland 10-3 in that game. They lose the game. Is that a bad game for the Angels because they lost the game, or is that a good game for the Angels because they out-hit them 10-3? Mm-hmm. So I have what I call my true runs, my true wins. Basically, when you break it down baseball, you've got your runs scored, but you also have your hits. And overall, you have some outliers. Most of the outliers are teams that hit a lot of home runs. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, if a team has 10 hits, they basically should have scored 5 runs. It's a 2-to-1 correlation. You score 10 runs, you should have had 20 hits. Mm-hmm. And basically what you want to do is you take your hits, divide them in 2, compare that score along with the runs for the game. And when I come up with my true runs or true wins, if a team wins the game, let's say 3-1, mm-hmm. and they out-hit that team, let's say they should have beaten them 4-2, that to me is a true win. Mm-hmm. So where you have your normal wins, normal losses, I also have a chart where I say true wins, true losses. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the runs scored. For example, if I do the same thing with the over-under, let's say you have 15 hits, which would be 7.5, mm-hmm. and then you've got 12 hits, which should have been 6. So that would have been 13.5 runs. In the game, let's say you only scored 8 runs, mm-hmm. and the total was 9. That would tell me that would have been a tie. So it's something a little bit different. And you talked a little bit about the Phillies and their offense mm-hmm. so far. Actually, Philadelphia on the season are 8-8 over/under on mm-hmm. the season. And but you take a look at their road games. They played at Pittsburgh, at San Francisco, and at San Diego, all mm-hmm. pitchers' parks.
Exactly.
So in reality, when I do my runs scored for Philadelphia in this game, even though they're 8-8 on the season, their over and under, according to my runs scored formula, would be 7 overs, 3 unders, 6 ties. So basically 7-3. So even though they haven't gone over the majority of the time, they played in low hitting ballparks. Sure. So it's a little bit of something that you may be able to get an edge in overall.
Well, it's always good to be able to be one step ahead of what the odds maker is going to do with his totals and his lines. So I like that way of thinking and handicapping the games. The one thing you can't take away from Philadelphia, and I know it's the ballparks also, but because of that staff, even though it's not completely healthy right now, you're talking about great pitching once again, a 2.46 team ERA and a bullpen that ranks 8th in the league right now. Cole Hamels off to a decent start. His last 2 starts against the Mets and Padres went quite well. He threw 61 strikes in 92 pitches against the San Diego Padres the other night, induced 8 ground balls, and he's got 23 punch-outs in 18 and a third innings so far, so he's pitching quite well. Arizona, pitching has not been a strong point. They're 18th in the league right now as far as staff ERA, but Trevor Cahill has certainly not been the problem if you look at his ERA and you look at his whip of about $1.21 right now in 3 starts. But the thing is that I'm looking at Cahill, and he hasn't induced a lot of ground ball outs so far, but he does tend to walk guys too much. And if you keep doing that 121 whip is going to start rising. The ERA, especially of 284, is going to start rising, as FIP and so on. And eventually you would think Philadelphia is going to start to come around. As you just mentioned, they played in that thick, heavy air at Petco, which, you're playing night games at Petco. Right. You might as well forget about it. It turns those home runs and extra base hits into flyouts that are 20 feet short of the warning track. It's just really tough. So I think they're going to start to come around eventually. But again, for me, it's tough to back Cahill because of the amount of free passes he awards opposing batters.
Yeah, and he pitched all his career in Oakland, which is a great pitcher's park, and now he's in Arizona where that ball flies out of that park. Mm-hmm. So between the combination of the pitchers, and I think Hamels will have a lot of success. He's always had a lot of success. In fact, he's got a .615 OPS in his career against Arizona. In fact, he's only allowed 3 extra base hits against 88 batters, so that's a pretty good, impressive stat there.
Sick.
But this is also a hitter's park, and
right.
In Philadelphia, as I pointed out, with Philadelphia playing in the places they played so far, It's not an imposing lineup by any means at this point. A lot of injuries on
No
that
Ryan
team.
Howard, of course.
Yeah, and you're going to get a really low total here because of the pitchers going. So I think we'll get a little bit of value here on the over, and I'm going to take a look at the over here.
I like that. The one thing I won't do is I won't be on the home team here because there's certain things I like to keep it simple, stupid type of thing, and I'm stupid, by the way. I'm not calling anybody else stupid, but I like to keep it simple, stupid. And one of those things is I am not going to go against a pitcher in this instance being Cole Hamels, who owns a 114 whip. In 7 years in the show, and his splits are so consistent unless he's playing against a team that he has struggled against, or unless he's playing a team that's absolutely red hot at the plate with a fantastic pitcher on the mound. We don't have that right now with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Like your play, and Brian's on the over. Hey, we got baseball on Thursday also right here at pregame.com. Don't miss out. We're going to look at some more Major League Baseball action at Pregame TV.